Hey everyone, welcome to Build Log Week 4 on the Polar Lights 1/350 scale USS Enterprise with some perks. Yes, I know I'm tweaking a lot. First off, I just want to say thank you for your patience while I'm getting... I know I've been doing videos for a long time, but I'm trying to start... When I definitely do in-depth videos like I'm doing with this, I'm trying to stay within a time, a 60 to 65 minute time limit. So if I didn't finish something like I did last week with the nacelles, because I was going to talk to you about all the wiring and how I do things, it will be on this video. It'll actually come up right after I get done. But please, just bear with me on this, and yay! So with that, guys, if you are new to my channel, please click on the subscribe button. Click on the little bell, and every time I upload a video, you will know. And I want to thank you to my new subscribers, and I want to thank you to just all my subscribers. I really appreciate y'all's inputs, your comments, your questions, just your whoas and all that. And like I said, if I ever do something and you need a little more to it, just put it in the comment section and let me know. I usually respond within 12 to 24 hours. And if there's something I'm doing that you would like to actually have more a video on how to do the technique, please, I would love to do that for you guys. Also with that, I know I'm wearing this. I love both sci-fi series. I love both of them very much, and it's kind of a running joke now. When I build a Star Trek kit or starship, I wear something like this. If you ask the other groups that I belong with when I'm doing build videos with them or group videos, that when I'm building a starship, I'm always wearing this, or wearing something like this. So, but with that, guys, I'm gonna stop rambling and let's get back over to the bench. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the negative side, and I'll start with this one back here. I've already gotten the orange on the thruster. Now this one, when you lay this out, looking at instructions, you're gonna have two black wires. One is for the strobe and one is for the lights to the front of the nacelle lights. So one thing I do, I don't try changing color, but I do make sure I have tape and a pen, because I need to label, at least label the negative, because here on this, what's really good is all the power, all the positive side will go into one, because that goes to the red positive on connection 1, the main power. So with 30 WAG, if you don't have it yet, you're going to want to get this little thing. And let's see if I can't help see that. And it's a wire twist tool. It's a Vectec CB30M. And it's amazing. So I know this wire might be a little long, but yeah, well, what I don't use and trim off, I can use in other projects. So basically, you put the wire in. You go to the first one you're going to do, and make sure it's got the hole. And something you're going to want to do, especially like here where they're really small, is hold the wire and then get it in there. And then if you need to, you can use your tweezers to help get it all pushed up and together, and make sure it's all twisted around like you want. Because sometimes it's easier to do this before you glue it in, and then so it's just kind of a hit and missing. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one in, sort of. Okay, and then again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and solder this where it's at, and make sure. Might have to change the tip on this thing. It's being crazy. And I just changed the tip like a couple of months ago, but yeah, sometimes things happen. So might have to let this cool down and change the tip, but we'll see. So there is the negative. And one of the things I like to do is figure out how I'm going to run all this. And if I go off camera again, I'm sorry guys. So I've already got this one down. So one of the things I would go ahead and do first is I want to try to get it where I want it into place, and then get it glued down. And the great thing about hot glue is it's also an insulator. It works great as an insulator. So you don't have to go too crazy with, shrink tubing. So, there. And like I said, I know how I'm going to want this to go, but I'm not going to glue it down yet because I'm going to chase that one over there. So the next one I got to do is the Rayathon lighting, and that's going to be purple because I've already looked at the connection. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a good bit of purple. And like I said, I know I don't need it this long, but it helps because I thought I have something long enough, and yeah. So, with this thing, it's great. It's also a stripper, and you got this little piece right here, like so. You just kind of pull it down like that, give it a little twist, and you should be able to do that. Just pop it up and strip the wire. So, go back in here, and again, I'm just going to twist it. Like so. Then I'm going to make sure it's secure, you know, soldered in, and go on to the next. Man, I am going to have to change this too. Dang it. I was hoping I wasn't going to have to, but... Okay. So, there. That one's done. And I can go ahead and get this pretty well set, and it doesn't, bending those leggings down like that doesn't really do anything. You know, sometimes they can snap, but it's already secured right here, and I just bent it down to the nacelle, and there we go. Because a lot of this wiring is going to be running right down this way. And I'm going to finish doing this side, and then I'll show you how I connect these two sides, and then we'll get it all into place. So, and then, like I said, because these two got to jump over, so I'll show you that. But I'm going to get finished getting a lot of this done, and I'll be back. Okay, well, I've gotten this side pretty well all wired up, and even got everything ready to go down here. With the positive, since it's all going into the red one connection one, I just went strobe, thruster, Rayathon, and then I went from the Rayathon to the tape, and then from from that I ran another jumper over to this for the front, and then I'll do the same thing over here, and because I can run them all out of one wire, unlike the negatives here. But I have all the negatives marked and ready to go. But before I even get close to doing the jump wires I'm going to show you guys, one thing I should always tell you guys to do is make sure you've got your light blocking where you want. And the best stuff I found, even better than, to me, a flat black paint, is this tulip slick. Now this is for the, you know, doing stuff on t-shirts or other shirts, but God, I love this stuff. And the easiest way is I have a brush, a little brush, and basically I just go in here, make sure it's down because I'm gonna have to get some more of this, but I just go down. I don't go anywhere near the top of it, but what I want to do is make sure I've got it underneath and to the side the best I can. Now sometimes you won't get all of there right away, but you will. And then same thing here. See if I can show you. Keep my hands out of the way. I don't do a whole lot right at first because I want to make sure that if I have to do any, because you can trim this, yeah, you're probably going to have to do a little bit of it, but, and then I'll roll it over and put a little bit more onto the back side, and then get it pushed down into where I want it, like so. And then even here, where this is going to meet up, I want to make sure I've got it pretty well blocked off. So there's that. And also, sorry guys, I'll show you when I get this done. Again, now if you're doing, you got a bulb like this on top of the nacelle, easiest way I found with this stuff is, one, I'm going to start over here on the side, and then I'm just going to kind of get some around, kind of like so. Then again, I'll take my brush, and then I'll just put it in there like so. Just like that. And like I said, this is going to create a great light block. And if I have to, I'll bring it up just a little bit. Not much. But I've pretty well light blocked this whole thing. But when you have these little bulbs or these LEDs like this, sometimes even what you do sometimes doesn't always, the light blocking, the pre-light blocking you do, sometimes just doesn't want to play very nice. So again, I will, let me see if I can keep it on camera this time for you guys, because you know me. So there's that. Now because I went ahead and did these walls here, I want to go ahead, and just basically all I'm doing is, I'm not interior on black, but I want to try to keep any ambient light from the Nacelle chiller grills from coming through if I don't want. But I got to be careful not to get that part. So again, all I do is just kind of like so, and get it pushed around. I don't do both sides, I just do one, because that's all I need. And let me get stuff switched around, and maybe I can keep this time in the camera for you. So again, before I do that, I want to show you this, guys. So like I said, I have to get, let me zoom out, okay. So I have to make, this is going to be where my jumpers for power from the two LEDs on the other side, and then because this gets a different color negative wire, but I can run power and power here, and then I'm going to jump this to this because this is black, and that's it. But one of the things you see I did is, after I started getting everything worked out, how I wanted to get it and get it run, once I got it ran, I also found the easiest and simplest way to glue it down so it wasn't all over the place. And one of the things I learned from building starships, and it seems like I keep forgetting, except this time I didn't, is because I'm going to have this all put together, and then I'm going to put this on after and run the wires up the pylons and then connect them here. What you want to do is you want to make sure you got enough slack. You don't, I could glue this and then all of a sudden sometimes I don't have room. That you got enough to be able to push wire back in. So there we go. So now I'll get this side done. But okay, so that's where I have to stop this for now. I could keep going, but this stuff is very, very messy, and it takes a little bit to dry. So I don't want to, do my clumsy and oop thing. So I'm going to stop on this and go make sure my wife's feeling okay, and if everything's going well, then I'm going to come back and start putting paint down on the saucer, I hope. So I'll see you guys when I start that. Well, good Thursday, and back at the bench, and yay. So while I was letting the tulip slick dry, I decided to go ahead and work on the atrium, and there it goes. I got the trees in there, and I got the decals on. The great thing about the set I got from HDA, because I'm waiting for that metal primer to come, it just being what it is, I decided to try, and if it didn't work, I would have tried something else, but it did. So yay. And try to keep this in camera for you guys. Get a look at the water. Now all I did was add a little bit more clear blue, and it gives me that nice effect where there's some light areas and some dark areas. I really like that, so there we go. And basically, remember guys, I told you about those trees I got, that I bought, these big, one for the diorama, you can do these. So all I did was snip little pieces, and then I went in and had to keep trimming them because I wanted to make sure the ceiling set down well. And it's a little snug, but that's okay because it actually it's a good effect because it pushes the trees, you know, rising towards the ceiling. So with that, guys, I'm going to put this aside, get it wrapped up, and get it protected, and let's get back to that nacelle. Okay, before we get back into getting too much wiring done, I do always test these things like several times. But this time, one, I want to make sure everything was wired right, is on, and I want to see how the light, if I did the light blocking well enough. So as you can tell, there's that. And a little bleed around the front of it, I can take care of with paint. But what I'm looking for is like right here, and that's looks pretty good. Now I'm going to test the other side, and I'm not going to have you guys go through that, but that's always something I want to do before I get it too far together, is because I want to make sure that I got the light blocking in here well enough. So with that, guys, let's keep going. Alright, welcome back, guys. So let me get this set up better. So I've already made the, I haven't soldered everything down, but I've made the jumps. And one thing I still gotta do that one. One thing I've learned is I sometimes cut this too short, and it becomes a problem, and sometimes I've made it too long and it's done issues. So it's a fine little line to find somewhere. But I always want to make sure I get enough space, because, you know, if I, you know, some things have, like I said, I always try to glue these into place, at least the ends of the bulbs, and go from there. So, like I said, it's kind of a fine line to find how much extra you want, and how sometimes it's too little, and you don't realize that until after you soldered everything, and then you go to try to put it together. So, okay, and yes, I did change the tip on my glue gun, or my solder gun. So now it's just doing this again, guys. We're just going to go in. Whew, that was fun. So, I know this is going to be on a different, the purple is going to be different. So remember, like I said, something that helps is to label these, because, like, you know, especially the negatives. But if you got like some of the red's going to go to different parts of connectors, so make sure you check that out. So just going to make sure I get this one done. Maybe. Sometimes these things are so... And like this one that has the negative on the plasma deflector, sometimes you have to rearrange wires even though you thought it was in the right spot. Because... Okay, everything is still working. Sorry if it's getting you blinded out, but as you can tell somewhat. But when you do the jumps, you're going to get pieces close. But there is, let me see if I can hide that for you. Maybe, so you can see the blue plasma deflector and the front lights, the Raython light, and the strobe. Now I don't have the thrusters powered in yet, because I just want to, I'm going to leave that until everything gets done. But there we go. So the next part is finish chasing up a little bit of the light leaks, and then get ready to put this together. And when I do that, I will be back. Alright, here we go. I've already test fitted and checked the lighting and everything. When you do that, I would always suggest do the test fitting, especially with lighting, is you want to make sure, so like here on the front of the nacelle, I got a little too much, I got a little bit of hot glue in where this part needs to sit, so I had to do a little bit of cleanup and a little bit of touch up. So, as you guys have watched me a lot, I use a lot of CA, and I've actually learned some things that while I do love using CA, it is sometimes a pain, which you guys know. So I went ahead on watching other builders' videos, got some Plastruck, and it's a plastic weld. So it's great, and the great thing about it is this is what I'm about to show you guys. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that stays where it needs to be. Darn stuff always wants to play around with you, don't it? Make sure it's down. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it on the pins for now. And why I'm doing that is that because what I'm going to do with this glue is I can run it down the seams once I make sure all these areas are where I want them tight, or most of the way tight, and like so. So very carefully, which you guys probably already know, is I've got everything wrapped the way I want, and now it's just to get it lined up and make sure I get on those posts. So there we go. And just to get a good squeeze to make sure they're on those posts. So there. So now the fun part is this. What I do is, even though that has, I'm going to add more of the plastic weld. And I'm not doing the whole thing, I'm just doing parts of it. Like so. And then I take tape, and I've already got it rolled out, and I do have clamps and stuff, but I found on the nacelles this works really great to hold it in place. So, and then, like I said, I just keep going. And because I'm doing the top and the bottom, I want to make sure I get all the parts glued well. And this stuff, I mean, it does run, but it doesn't seem to mess with things that much. I mean, I will have to sand the seam lines, of course. But then I just squeeze it together, pull the tape tight, and there we go. There's the next one. And then, where I stop gluing, I run it down the seam, and I just let the capillary action work. And it does. Trust me on this, guys. This stuff is pretty cool. And again, I do the bottom. Like so. And then what I do, like I said, is I come here, I grab my next piece of tape, and I just put it on. And because I want to make sure, you got to make sure the bottom tightens up too to get that seam. And then I just, like I said, I just wrap the tape around. So, got the last bit here. And this is where it really does get fun, because it's narrow. And like so. Turn it over and do the same thing. And let the capillary action, like I said, work. Because it will. Trust me. This stuff is amazing. So, there's that one. Then, like I said, I just bring everything together. Last bit of tape. Maybe. And, like I said, I make sure everything is tight. Seams are where they need to be. And just wrap it. And sometimes you'll find you might have to do a little bit more. So like right here. and that's why I had a bit of extra tape. And I make sure that, like I said, and then I just make sure it's tight, and I pull it down. Now that's it. I will have to do, like I said, I'm going to have to do putty work. That's granted on these seams. But, like I said, the good thing is that they are now together. And again, if you need to, you can always add a little bit more glue to help strengthen the capillary action. And some places where you didn't put the tape, it might have split a little bit, and you can just come here and hold it, like so. Or if you want to add more tape, you can. But this stuff starts to work pretty good. I just, I'm not gonna, yeah. So, now the fun part is to let this dry, and then we'll get on to the next fun thing of putty and seam work, but not yet. So, when this gets done, I'll let you guys see. Well, good Friday, everyone. Not good Friday, but happy Friday. And yes, work continues. I know this is coming up on the next video, so bear with me, guys. So what I did after I got last week's video, getting it all uploaded and everything, getting it taken care of, I went ahead and did the resistors for the disc thrusters and got everything in a nice spot because I'm going to run this up. That's one thing, guys, is always try to plan out how you're going to do something, and sometimes even as you have a plan, it changes while you're doing it, so don't be afraid. But yeah, so, and I also got the sensor dome, or the dome dish, the deflector dish already good to go, and now everything is going to go where I want to. So there's that. Also, I got mail call yesterday. Dun, dun, dun. Got that metal primer. Like I said, this is the first time I've used it. So I primed it. I think the way I understand it, you're supposed to prime the photo etch, and then after it gets dry, brush this on. And that's what I did and let it dry. But as I was brushing it on, it kind of took some of the primer up. So yeah, we'll see. But hey, cool. So I've got, like I said, I got the extra photo etcher because I had to replace parts. So I got 2 of these rooms, these officer lounge, not the officer's lounge, but the ship's lounge. So I'm going to get this on, and well, I'll get it cut and trimmed apart, and then we'll see how it works. So stand by. Alright, let's see how this is going to work so you can be right with me. Now remember, I got these laser printed replacement decals from HDA Model Works. So, I found out when I did the Arboretum that, especially with these, using the microsol, sorry guys, using the microsol instead of just water helps it sit a little better. Normally I just use water, get it all out, and then my saw to set. But since I am new to this, let's give it a shot. So I'm going to do here, this is the cargo hatch that, the airlock that Spock went out when he was inside of V'ger. Now I'm not adding it to the ship, but I figured what the heck, I got it. Let's give it a shot here. So remember, with these decals, you need to definitely actually count. So 25 seconds. Brush, you can use anything because you can just rinse it right out. And I'm just going to brush it on. I'm not putting it on real thick. Just lightly so I can, make sure it gets into all those crevices and everything, and then down here. Okay. So, here we go. And one of the things, especially with these, I will use my tweezers because sometimes these decals don't like to play nice sometimes. And kind of like that. So I have to use my finger. And if it's not wanting to move, definitely get some water in it. And if you have to, because it's not wanting to play nice, go ahead and get a little water on. so you can actually adjust it like so. And make sure I'm staying here on camera for you guys. And then get you pressed down. Now remember, with this, you got to trim these as close to the edge as you can. So now I'm just going to push out the air bubbles, make sure everything is where I want it. Almost. Let's see here. Come here. Just a little bit. And I mean, sometimes working with decals is like, oh my gosh, you're so finicky, right? Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit it with this again. And make sure all the air is out. And then definitely going to hit it with solid set. So like I said, sometimes it's easier to do the water than the microcell, because you can use the microcell just like solid set, but I found sometimes it works good to help soften it a little bit more as it's doing it, but the solid set does the same thing. So, okay. And, hey, those are on. Now let's do this big boy. Now, like I said, remember you got to trim this really close. And the best way I found, I got some of the bigger parts with my scissors, but then I had to go in with my X-Acto knife. So, let's give it a shot. And 25. Okay. Get you set. Get a little water down here. Okay. Let that rest. And then we'll go. And sometimes it helps also while it's resting, just turn it over. Help get some of that little bit more excess out. And let it do its thing for a few seconds. Make sure it gets rested. Okay. Now, one thing I always do is I want to make sure, and if the decal, it doesn't have to, you know, if it's this one or if it's just regular box decals, if it doesn't want to move nice, you might have to let it sit just a little bit longer. Okay. Wow, that did pretty good. I actually got it into place the first time. And like I said, I'm just pushing out the air. Okay. And here we go. Like I said, just wanting to make sure everything plays nice. So, and one thing I have learned sometimes, with all decals, sometimes it helps to go back with the solvent set after it dries a little bit and your decal is starting to get that wrinkly look. Don't mess with it. Just like I said, just if you need to, add a little more of the solvent set or the microsol or whatever decal solution, and there. So now that's on. Yay! All right, guys. Well, gotta let this get dry. So I'll come back when I got something else to do. Or yeah. Well, good afternoon, and getting back at the bench. So, first things first, the HDX model, or the HDX model did really, really well. I like it. Did really great. Very nice. And you can actually trim these clear pieces out after this gets good and dry. And then when I do this, I will show you what I'm going to do to help diffuse that light. But one of the things I don't like is you see in the brass where I had to, when I use the metal primer. So what I did first on this one, because I'm going to do this again, first thing I did was I coated it, I brushed on the metal primer and let that dry. Then I came back and did the primer, the T.B.I primer gray. and that's dry. So I'm going to do this one again. Also, I had when I posted the picture of this in some of the groups, a couple of the builders go, or one of the builders, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name right now, I will, but says, so where are all the figures? Where's the people? And I go, I made the funny, I go, well, Q's playing around with the Enterprise. Come on, you know, they're all gone. But, because I was thinking I wasn't going to do it, but actually I went and did it, and I only used a photo etch, so not very dramatic on the paint or anything, but let's see if I can get that to focus pretty well for you, maybe. And added the figures in. So, yeah, I like that. It actually even brings more to it. And I also did it on the officer's lounge. Let's see if I can, there we go. Let's see if it'll focus in for you. So I didn't do very many in there because you're not going to see a lot of, because of the walls and that. And just in case, guys, I know I was having trouble when I was talking about putting the decal on this the first time. This is not an all hands. This is the observation lounge. So yes, I do remember that. So I'm going to take care of that. Also, I'm going to start working on getting the secondary hull LEDs and getting things prepped for that, because I need to start getting things to go together. And I'm not going to do a step-by-step on that. I'm just going to explain what I did and show you what I did. And if you have questions on it, you can always leave it in the comments section, guys. But the one thing I did do is, following Boyd at Trek Models, I cut this down because I want to put up the side hull walls on the secondary. And once it's all done, because I can put this in there and then I can slide the shuttle bay in, correct, but I got to get other things done. So that's where I'm at, guys. So as I get more done, at least on the secondary hull, I will definitely come back and show you what I got done and explain what I did. So I'll catch you in a little bit. Well, hey everyone, happy Monday and getting back at it. Like I said, I did do some things off camera and I do have pictures of what I've done, but I wanted to go ahead and start sharing that with you. I've gotten a lot of the lighting done on the secondary hull here in the body. I ran LED strip tape on both sides to help do a good lighting, and then I've got the strobe, and then the tractor beam light all ready to go. And the fun part was actually getting these lower pylon lights, and that took a little bit of finesse and work. I'm sorry, get my finger out of the way, but right there. So there's that. So I've got everything running. I'm trying to keep everything to one side, so I don't have to jump as much. So I've already got pretty much everything except for the lower pylon lights. Haven't done that yet, get them both hooked up. But everything else, I'm trying, like I said, run down one side. And I went ahead and got everything wired got everything ready to go. I've already tested it, and it's working. So now my big issue, like I said, is I got to get it run down the side, and that's why I cut the post out. Was watching Boyd when he built this years ago. He did that so he could slide the shuttle bay in. But unlike what Boyd did, which is very easy, is because I added this lighting. So yeah, so I have to kind of twist, hem, haw, and get it in there. But what I'm going to do is get this hot glued down and have everything ready to go, so when I do put it in this way, everything's running down this side. Now I do have room, because I've already tested this once, I do have room to run everything. So get that down. Then I need to get, I'm going to do the same thing for the shuttle bay lights, is I'm just going to run a strip of LED tape instead of the 3mm bulbs, because I think this is just going to do better, and I'm going to have this marked up. I got to get this strobe done and get these pylon lights, because what I'd like to do is, the more I looked at it, I should have left this off and made this the final piece to put on, but I didn't, and that's fine. I'm going to work with it, because I need to get all the wiring run up and get the top on before I can put this on. But what I need to do is I have to figure out how, because I got to run certain wires down the base, and I I gotta have to be able to have room to do that. So I don't know if I'm gonna go ahead and, after I get the shuttle bay in, get this put together, and then start doing the wiring and getting it run down, because I would like to wait to put the post on to the end so I can actually do a really nice paint job with this. But it's one of those works in progress. And then, like I said, and then if everything works out right, and this is kind of messy, I know, I'm sorry, is if I do that and wait, then hopefully I can just slide this in, and then I can cover this up, because I got to drill, I got to make a hole to run the wiring, because I'm going to put the board, because it's a big board, I've got to put it in the saucer, and I got to start running and planning that too, and I kind of have a good idea. But first I need to just start getting spaghetti wire mess cleaned up, and I've done quite a bit, but I need to do more and get everything ready to go. And so I know what I'm running up and what I need to run down. And mostly what's going to be down is just the power and the speakers and the switches. Is the only thing I'm really going to be running through the post, but I'm going to have to get this on and get those wires kind of in place so I can bring it all up. So when I get that done, I get this all on, I'm going to have to put the pylons on, because I don't want to, I thought about trimming these out and just, you know, epoxy in the pylons, but this gives the pylon structure, and I want to keep that so they don't sag and bow. So I got to put the pylons on each piece, and then put it together, but I have to also run the wiring down for the nacelles. And I need to get the shuttle bay in and then start figuring out, okay, I can run it here, and then that way it can come up. So lots of little planning, but hey, like I said, I'll share pictures with what I've got done, and I'll show you the Arboretum, and I'm going to keep working. And as I do more, I will share. One thing I forgot, after I started doing anything, turn the light on, I went ahead and used my tulip slick, and I blacked out a top of this on the Arboretum where this piece fits in. There's a nice big gap, and then I went ahead and tulip the sides where these pieces met, to help do light blocking on there, because even though it fit well, there were still little holes. So I did that. So I used tulip slick on that. So with that, guys, I'm gonna get back to work. Alright guys, it is now in the afternoon. Got done with lunch and running a couple errands for my wife, and the shuttle bay is in and secured. So now I'm getting ready to start on the top of the secondary hull here. These aren't glued in yet, but I probably will. So I'm going to run a LED, like I said, here, or LED tape here. I'm going to do this and get these guys in. But before I ever set anything up, I also need to get a light back here on the back of the shuttle bay for these parts that I did early. So that's where we're at. But as you can see, I've got everything running, and like I said, I'm going this way now. I got to extend these wires. I do long wire, but I didn't do it long enough, so I got to do that. And when I get done with installing the LEDs on the top of the secondary hull, I also need to go ahead and start running my wire to both of my nacelles and this way. So that way when I know I am good and ready to seal this up, I will get it sealed up. So that's where I'm at, guys. And if I didn't tell you guys before, when I lighted the water LED, the water in here and the Arboretum, I discovered that, and I used one of Boyd's tricks. And when he did the video on this build years ago, he did that. He drilled out the water and did epoxy or like I did, the acrylic, and then he used a little white, and it just helps enhance that. So yes, I got the idea from Boyd. So with that, guys, I'm going to get back to getting things done, and I'll share when I get more. Well, good Tuesday, guys, and getting all stuff done. I had to work on getting the post ready for a new friend and working on this. And yes, you can see the spaghetti wire that is going to be for the nacelles to go in here. What I also did was I put the pylons on because I wanted to get those ready to go. I drilled a hole into the kit so I have enough room to put the wire, because my plan is, like Boyd did on his kit, is to put either brass or a styrene tube to help hold it and keep that wire better grouped together. So yay. So that's where I'm at right now, guys. And then I gotta go ahead and finish getting the extra wire added to the bottom of the secondary hole, and then kind of turn it on and see what it looks like. I'll be back. All right, well, this part's done. Wire's chasing through. I know I got a lot of trimming to do, but there we go. There's that. But then, not too bad. And let me get one of the other pylons out here so I can show you. I was kind of worried when I decided to do this if there was going to be enough space right here, but heck, look at that, guys. And yes, got enough room to put the wires down. So yay. Everything's working. I guess I will test it before I actually glue it down. You know that, right, guys? But now I'm going to start finishing up the work on the wiring on the bottom of the secondary hole, because there's things that I got to run through it and other things so I can run this up and take care of that. So I'm going to get on that, but yay, a little bit more getting done. Sorry about that, guys. I'm all over the place, but right on, right on, right on. All right, guys. Well, getting ever closer to getting this sealed up. So now I'm just, I got to run, the only wires that are running to the base is going to be the speaker, the momentary switches, the on-off switch, and that's it. And the power, of course. But the one thing I'm going to do because of the board, because connection 1, red is the power like this, I'm just going to run that and tie it in so I don't have to try to run all the way up. But I have to run the big black negative wire and all the rest of them. But yep, getting ever closer, guys. And yes, she's going to be pretty. But that's where I'm at right now. And hopefully before I decide to call it a night, I will get this all set up and be ever closer. So that's where we're at, guys. And when you do like I do with this electrical, as you can see, I have a lot of it resting against. It's not blinding the light like these. It's not blocking it. So that's something you want to think about too when you're running. Let me see if I can show you. Let me zoom in here a bit. Oh, that's not zoom in. So as you can see, I've done and run it down and tried to keep it out of the way, keep it out of the other lights. And then I'll do the same thing when I start to run this up. Because once I get this all ready to go, all I got to do is put on the top. But like I said, I want to test everything before I actually secure the top to make sure everything that I've done here is good. Always test, always test. But yeah, it's getting ever closer, guys, and hopefully not too much longer I'll be able to start doing something other than electrical, like I did with the Arboretum and all that stuff. Something other than electrical. I'm itching to get a bit more done, but I gotta get all this madness cleaned up. So let me get back to it. Alright, guys, well, I'm about there to putting on the deflector dish and getting this ready to run up. I know this is a mess. It does look kind of crazy. Let me see if I can show you a little bit more of that. But yeah, and after I run it up through the top of the secondary hull, I'm going to take a tip and very useful idea from Boyd Compton at Trekworks. And I'm actually, when I do the neck, I'm going to do a piece of brass tubing to help run everything and keep it channeled up. And I'm probably might even do a little bit on, not a big one, just a little one. And yes, I had to actually The great thing is I had to drill this a little bigger. Yeah, but the great thing is the neck's going to cover that. But I'm thinking I'm going to put a little bit of a brass tube in here to help keep the wires bunched up better or enclosed better. And then when I get ready to put on the neck, then I'll take those and I'll run them up to that tube. So that's where we're at. And I would love to show you this, guys, while I'm doing this, but all right, well, it's not going to be bad. I mean, there's some work. This is just dry fitted right now, but when I get ready to start running up this wire, I do have enough space in here because I can hide a lot of this wire into this part of the deflector dish to try to get a little better grouped and out of the way, so it's not taking away from lighting on the side. Sorry about that, guys, but first thing I got to do is get it attached. So here we go. And the bad thing is with this is you got to be really careful that because like I said, I do use a lot of CA and a lot of epoxy. You want to be very careful to keep the wires out of the way, because this does like to grab stuff that you don't want it to grab. And okay, now I'm going to make sure. Okay. Now another thing I do, sorry being out of the camera, guys, but if I use a CA, one of the things I will do is I will go along the kit like this and get it wiped up that overflows. So, I mean, it is sandable, but I don't want it to be too bad. And check that out, guys. We now have, sorry, let me zoom out of this thing a bit. We have a deflector dish. So I'm going to let this get dry, really good and dry. I'm probably going to be calling it a night right now and get back to work on this tomorrow. But yeah, this literally, guys, between getting this all finished on this and then getting this all set and done and fixed and prepped, it took me, this was an all-day job. I mean, literally, I came down here at 9 o'clock this morning, and this is Central Time, and it's now 2 to 5 o'clock. So yeah, so guys, like I said, don't ever be in a hurry building these things, okay? Because once you get in a hurry, that's where mistakes start to happen. And I know this can be kind of scary, but don't worry about it. It's going to work out. Now I will show you that, guys. So with that, have a great night, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow on the bench. Well, good morning. It's Wednesday and the day before Thanksgiving and the day before I gotta cook. Yay, right? So I was talking about taking an idea from Boyd, using an idea that Boyd used on his build with putting a brass tube into the neck, but I also wanted to do it here with all the wiring coming up through on this top part of the secondary hull. So I took brass tubing, and the size, give me just a second, guys. It is a brass tubing, it's 3/8. It is a 3/8 tube. And I use my Dremel on a lot of things, but a few months ago I found this at Hobby Lobby. And this is basically a pipe cutter. Is what it is. A small broke down version, and it worked very well to cut this small piece. And I actually like it more because I don't have to, when you cut with the Dremel, you grind these off or cut these with the Dremel, you might get sharp edges and stuff, and I kind of like it because it helped keep it blunt. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these chased up through here, start working on getting these, and see how that looks. So I'll come back when I got something more to show, guys. Alright, well, I've got everything run through, and I didn't hook up the computer board. I just hooked up everything I knew had resistor and negatives and that, and yay, it's still going. Let me see if I can adjust this enough, and hopefully it'll do it. Alright, there we go. So yes, I got that nice blue coming out of the Arboretum, and I've got pylon lights working. I know I still got to put this pylon. And bottom strobe, aft tractor beam, rear strobe, and yes, and let's see if I can, there we go, and the shuttle bay. So now I am going to unplug this, take this back off for a second, get the lower pylons glued into place, and then before the end, probably pretty quick, is I'm gonna get this put into place. So with that, guys, when I get it taken care, and then I'll be able to start really cleaning this up. So with that, guys, I'm gonna work on that. I'll see you in a bit. All right. Except for the back of the shuttle bay, the piece I got put there, it is together, and yes, clamps are needed. And I'll show you here in a little bit, but yeah, I'm going to have to definitely do some putty work. There's some gap on the rear parts here, but I figured that much. But yay, the secondary hull, except for the neck, is now together. So, cool. Alright guys, I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, make sure it gets good and dry before I start messing with it, and then I'll keep moving on. So, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Well, good afternoon guys, and went and did a little bit and with the wife and the son, since it is now Thanksgiving vacation for them, and getting started, letting the secondary hull sit over on the other table, get it out of the way for now, and take a break from it. But that means I'm going to get started on the secondary, or the neck. And the first thing I did is I put the torpedo tube launcher bay in, and I went ahead, and let me see if I can get there, I drilled, kind of figured out where I wanted it, and did just pilot holes, just so I can get the lighting in there. Then on these guys, let me get it up there a little bit better, I went ahead and did that nail acrylic powder that I was talking about, guys, that I showed you guys, because the clear parts on this thing are very, very god awful. And let me see if I can give you a little bit of that, even with the overhead light on. Just kind of show you what it's, there we go. Let me turn the overhead off real quick. Okay. And, well, sorry guys, kind of gets blinding there, don't it? But you can see that it's clear and it's going to do what it needs to do. And the great thing about the nail acrylic powder, using that, is it's completely sandable and good to go. So now what I need to do is finish prepping the torpedo tubes, get lighting figured out for here, and get lighting into the neck. And then the great thing is, once I get all that, hopefully I can get this, I'll get this closed up and get that brass tube in there and another part put together, and I'll get it onto the secondary hull, and then that's one section complete. And what I am going to do is I still got to paint and take care of the saucer, but because I'm going to put the board in the saucer, on the bottom saucer, it's got a good set of room there, is before I even put the two pieces together, I think I'm going to go ahead and put the bottom on here, have everything up and ran that I need to, so I can make sure everything fits, and I'll talk to that when I do it. But yeah, so I'm going to get onto it. And it's pretty simple. I mean, you got to have LEDs here, LED for the windows, and then you can do the LEDs for their torpedo tubes. And I will show you how that looks as I get it done. I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, that's what we're going to do for the week. It's Thanksgiving, so it's going to be, it was a short week anyway, but the reason it's a little shorter than normal is because what I couldn't finish last week for the nacelles, I put on this week's video, so I hope that helps and you do enjoy that. But with that, guys, I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you are able to spend time with the family, and that everybody, wherever you're traveling to or wherever they're traveling from, get there safe. Have a very, very happy Thanksgiving. And when I get back on the bench next week, I'll start showing you how I'm going to do the neck a little bit more. So with that, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the bench.